Welcome to the December 17th, 2019 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And DragonAce.
Welcome.
Welcome! We have a new guest fan on for a change. Haven't had one in a bit of a while. I think the last one was Fakafon. He's been on a billion times these days. So, glad to have you on.
Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I play too many video games, and I used to be a substitute teacher.
Oh, like both of us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow.
Yeah, but
fit right in.
Yeah. Yeah, but I taught itty bitties.
Oh.
Well,
I taught Twinkie House.
Itty bitty baby, itty bitty boat.
Hey, call right on.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I did high school.
Yeah,
Well,
so did I.
Anytime I taught an upper grade, like in high school, they're like, "Where's your pass?" I'm like, "I'm the teacher. Please leave me alone."
Nice. I had that once when I was at a charter school. I was on some field trip or whatever, so the people there had, like they didn't know any of us, and one of them was like, "Why are you not like with the class or whatever?" I'm like, "I'm one of the sort of teacher people." Like, oh.
Can you help me tie my shoes?
And then directly to the microscopes. Thank you.
So, DragonAce, how did you get introduced to the podcast? Was it just through that, or was it? Have you been a fan of Lotus's for some time?
I've been a fan of Lotus's for a very long time, and I'm on and off with the podcasts. I end up getting behind, and once you're behind in a podcast, you can't really catch up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, what's good about Reactive is that it's topical, so like you can jump back in at any time.
Yeah, with very few exceptions. It's not a serial, and even when it is, it's like a topic.
Yeah, and most of the QuarkCon episodes these days are based off of things that are already going on in my life anyway.
Yeah, we don't really build off of like podcast lore. We don't really have very many inside jokes that you'll feel like you're missing out.
These podcasts are canon.
Yeah, I was going to say, and even when we do, it doesn't matter. Like red-haired Menelaus, no one fucking knows what that is. Doesn't matter.
That is our longest and oldest joke, and you couldn't even... You can't have an older joke.
And there's not even context. It's just like... That's just from the Odyssey. That's it. Like, that was the joke. The fact that I'm quoting the Odyssey.
What was that, from our first episode or our second episode?
I think it might have been the first.
Okay, yeah. So, we're very glad to have you on. Definitely don't want to turn you off from coming back, so we'll have to continue on here.
We'll try to stay away from the inside jokes.
But I think I've already done the damage, so I
don't know. I talk to Lotus enough. I'm good with whatever, and I don't mind missing inside jokes, especially since now that I actually watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I rewatch Old Lotus and go, oh, I now understand this joke, and this joke, and this joke.
I hate JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
No, your Skype profile is literally JoJo is amazing.
I actually bought Araki's book on like manga theory. I'm not gonna be a fucking mangaka, but I just wanted to see what he had to say about it. It's not even JoJo.
It's like the dance macabre of the JoJo Bizarre Adventure author. Huh?
That's an interesting connection to make. I was gonna go with On Writing, but I guess they're both by the same author.
Well, they're both complements to each other, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah. Well, without further ado, we have a lot of topics to go over, so we should go over them, especially considering that there's quite a bit of news this week, considering the Video Game Awards happened. So the first thing that we want to go over is the biggest news, which was the Xbox Series X was revealed. I thought this was pretty interesting. They later clarified that the Series X is the model name and not the name of the generation of consoles. It's just called the Xbox generation of consoles, which was revealed like the last couple days.
Yeah, so once again, everything after the 360 has been a dumb fucking name. Like, Series helps. Like, it's the Xbox Series this or that. Like, I can totally get behind that, but just like... Oh, it's just called the Xbox generation. Oh, you mean from the early 2000s? No. Oh, the mid-2000s? No. The Xbox One, which is not the first one? Yeah.
It's the 4th generation Xbox, but I'm glad that it has a pretty easy to remember name. It's a Series X. I mean,
I understand.
It is differentiated by the model Xbox One X. But
yes,
at least
it's just like this shit is infuriating. Like the 3rd Xbox is called the One, which is what everybody called the original Xbox until the Xbox One came out. So now we have to actually say original Xbox and not Xbox One. And then the next Xbox came out, which was the One X, which spells out the XBOX. And now it's just the Xbox, which was the original system again. It's just like I'm gonna shoot myself in the face.
Hurry, Xbox! Xbox is gaining us.
You know what? Like
too many Xboxes.
Nintendo made this mistake once. You know, they made the Wii U, and everyone like didn't know what it was. And then Nintendo was like, "Hey, I got a great idea. What if we don't have a stupid naming convention the next time?" And then they didn't.
Well, I mean, you can see where Nintendo went. I mean, like the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. I mean, that's an iteration.
Yeah, but nobody it's not the Nintendo again. It's Super this time. They didn't call the second one the Nintendo One.
Yeah, but how about the DS and then the 3DS? I mean, that come on.
Well, that makes sense. 3D.
Well, anyway, we need to move on from that and actually talk about the damn thing.
Yeah, right.
So, it is...
No, actually, real quick, I will say the new 3DS was a dumb name. That was not a good idea.
Okay. Well, that's going after the new Mario Brothers.
Yeah, but when you say, like, I'm looking for a new 3DS at the store, like, oh, one that's not used, you mean? Like, that was annoying.
Yeah. Well, I thought this was a pretty cool-looking box. It's kind of like a tower,
yeah.
And it kind of looks like it's going off of its PC roots, which is pretty cool. Probably going to have some easily swappable, like, hard drive, which is pretty cool. I think it's going to be a neat console, but we'll get into this later. I don't know whether it's going to be for me, but there is a lot of really cool stuff about it. They are confirming that there is backwards compatibility. They haven't specified exactly, but they have. I think there's going to be support for all Xbox One games, at least.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And the original Xbox games that are already backwards compatible with that. So that's my suggestion. I don't think that they're going to make every game that was on 360 and original Xbox compatible with it. I doubt that. It would be really awesome if they did that, but I very much doubt it. Very much doubt it. The controller looks neat. It looks like basically like the Elite controller for the current generation.
Yeah, Xbox has been generally really good with its controllers.
They pretty much have the best controller on the market.
They're my preferred controller for PC gaming.
Me as well.
Yeah, they're solid. Yeah,
they have the best D-pad of anyone, and the Elite D-pad is on this one, so it's even better. So I think it's going to be very tough to beat this controller as one of the best of all time. It's going to be really good.
By the way, you know what kind of cracks me up is I haven't seen this since the original Xbox, but there's already been some memes about just like the visual of the new Xbox. Like, I mean, I know there was a meme about the 360, like you turn 360 degree, but there weren't many pictures associated with it. Well, yeah, like with the original Xbox, there were jokes about how big it was, where they were like superimposing it onto pictures where it was like a giant block of something and no one could lift it. One of my favorites I've seen for the new tower, the new Xbox, is it was like a math graph that said Xbox and it's lying on its side, Y box and it's standing up. It's like, nice.
Well, what is cool about this? They have confirmed that you can put it on its side or lay it down. Either way. Kind of like PS2 used to be.
That's right. It was the PS2. Okay, and the Wii.
The PS3. PS3, you could do that too.
The PS3, you could.
Yeah, the original. The original.
Oh, the original. Okay, but yeah, I was thinking the Wii. I think mainly because you could stand it up.
Yeah, it's an attractive looking console. I mean, it's basically like a monolith, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, which is also a joke in of itself.
Yeah. But it's gonna have up to 8K support, I think, is what they said, and
that'll be great when I get an 8K TV in like 10 years.
Well, they have them out. There just is very little content for them.
Yeah.
Basically, if you don't have a PC hooked up to an 8K TV,
there's no way.
Nobody's producing, nobody's streaming 8K anything. First of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, nobody's broadcasting it either. So like on cable or whatever. And you can't buy an 8K Blu-ray, so what are you doing?
It's really PC gaming or nothing.
Exactly. But you also need to have a ridiculous PC in order to play that with any amount of success. But I still think it's really cool and forward-thinking. We'll find out more about the other features probably soon. It does have a share button, just like the PS4 does. Which is really great, but more and more they're also pretty much confirming that Microsoft's stance is that this is an easy way for you to play their games that will be available elsewhere as well.
Well, yeah, that is a thing, because like Microsoft has been like a largely redundant set like library of games, except for maybe the original Xbox, because like everything's on PC, but at the same time, an Xbox is a cheaper and easier solution than making a supercomputer.
Yeah, I mean, instead of buying my next an upgrade to my PC, my gaming PC, which is what I've been doing, I might just buy the latest Xbox, because like anything that comes out in both places, I mean, it's about the same amount of money, and to upgrade as to get a whole system here. So like if I were to buy a really nice graphics card right now, like a really, really good one, like in the 2000 series, like Nvidia's, I would probably have to pay as much as this system is going to cost, and this is all inclusive. It has the hard drive and everything.
And not to mention that if Dead Rising 5 comes out, it might have a little unique DLC that you could stick with solely on the new Xbox.
I think they've pretty much gotten away from that. There hasn't been an exclusive since that pirate game.
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves. Yeah. There hasn't been an exclusive since that. Everything else has been on PC and Xbox at least. So I think it's pretty cool. I think what they've basically done is they've said, we make everything for PC, and this is a gaming PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Microsoft computer system, so it makes sense.
I think it's pretty neat. They're giving people an easy way to access their community and their games, and without having to make you, make a really awesome PC, which could be up to $3,000.
Yeah.
So, which is how much my PC cost when I put it together. So, that's a hefty ask this day and age for anybody. So, that was back when I was single and didn't have anything to do with my money at the time.
Yeah.
So, getting ready for marriage and children hopefully in the future. So I think a $500 price tag is much better than a $3,000 one. So moving on from that, they announced a few games which they also confirmed will also be on PC along with it. The first one was Senua Saga Hellblade 2.
Yeah, because Hellblade Senua's, I think it was Sacrifice, was not the biggest, most mainstream release, but it definitely got a pretty big following for what it was. Apparently, it's a very interesting, immersive...
Ninja Theory one? Is that what it is?
I don't remember what the company was, but it's a very interesting, experience kind of game. I still need to play it myself, but I do have it.
Yeah, I that's the one where she's dealing with
PTSD,
like PTSD
of some kind.
Yeah, that is a Ninja Theory game. Same company that made DMC, Devil May Cry, and
the Ninja Gaiden stuff.
No, Ninja Theory. That's Team Ninja.
Oh, excuse me. All right, that's very different.
Made what was it? Heavenly Sword and Enslaved.
That's a deep cut right there. Heavenly Sword.
Yeah, well,
with this
Heavenly
incredibly
Sword was
gorgeous,
their first game.
incredibly unskippable cutscenes.
Yeah, but Ninja Theory is a good company. They make a lot of really good stuff. So, I liked DMC Devil May Cry, so I'm okay with them.
The trailers did no favors, but the gameplay was pretty great and the visuals were gorgeous.
Yeah, and that was like the major stuff for that. So I'm sure we'll get more and more details as time goes on, because I'm sure they're going to be trickling out the details as Sony is trickling out their details as well before they finalize everything. That's usually how it goes. But I'm sure there will be advanced options to stream games and share games and things like that, because that's going to be their MO. The big thing for probably us and our fans is that there was a later on in the Game Awards there was a No More Heroes 3 trailer. Did you watch this?
Nope. I just know that it's going to come out, so I'm excited.
Oh, the trailer's great. You should watch it.
I'm sure it is, but now that I know it's here, I kind of don't want to watch the trailer unless it has stuff that the game won't have.
Well, the last two games had two completely unique trailers that had nothing that weren't even included in the game. So
so maybe I should watch it then. All right.
You should. I doubt that it's going to be in there.
Well, I mean, I saw the trailer for Travis Strikes Again, but. Yeah, I don't know about the No More Heroes 3 one, though. It's
a non-gameplay trailer. It's an anime trailer.
Oh, okay.
And it sets up the story. So I'll just basically it's very ET-ish. Kid finds an alien crash down on a planet on Earth, and then hides him from the Men in Black. And then he links up with the alien and then gets the alien home, just like an ET. However, what happens is later on, the alien says, "I love you and I'll come back to you," to the kid. So he comes, the psychic link that he's made with the alien has remained with him, and he's become one of the most powerful CEOs on the planet. The boy has. And
then he founded a company called Pizza Butt.
Well,
what?
We'll see.
That's the story. That's the story of No More Heroes 2 is what he's referring to.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, DragonAce.
Yeah, Pizza Butt is the bad guys.
Yes, it's literally Pizza Butt. But anyway, so the alien comes back to Earth and apparently is a gigantic douchebag.
That's kind of funny by itself.
He grows up, apparently he found them as a baby, and has been exiled from his planet as well as a bunch of other ne'er-do-well aliens have been excommunicated from their planets. They're a bunch of douchebags. And they come back and they're like, all right, well, we're superheroes now because we're aliens and we have powers, so we're going to take over the planet.
Oh,
and then
shit.
proceeds...
So we've upgraded from the top assassins to just superpowered aliens?
Yes. So they come back to Earth and, fuck everything up in 5 seconds.
Oh.
And Travis goes, you think you're superheroes, huh? And then, comes screaming on.
So basically, No More Heroes 1 is fighting a group tournament style to get laid.
Mm-hmm.
No More Heroes 2 is just revenge. No More Heroes 3, he might actually be a hero.
Yes. So it looks amazing.
And, well, No More Heroes 2, the mission wasn't to get laid, although he still obviously had that on his mind. But in No More Heroes 3, he might actually be doing something that will benefit people.
So apparently the name of the kid in this is very on the nose. So the name of the kid's now adult CEO, his name is John Riccitello.
Okay.
And apparently this is a real person who was a former executive from EA that he named him after.
Jesus Christ, that's pretty gutsy.
And click on the link in the show notes. There is a whole thread about how Suda51 hates this man because he made him change. He took creative control over for Shadows of the Damned when it was at EA. And,
oh my god.
And basically wrecked it. And Travis Strikes Again is entirely about him rebelling and becoming punk again after going corporate.
Wait, the original Shadows of the Damned was going to be a psychological horror game? What the fuck? I can't even see, like... I can't even see traces of that in the new game.
Yeah, because they made him change it so much into, like, an
Resident Evil 5. Yeah.
Over-the-shoulder shooter. Yeah,
Resident Evil 5, but by Suda51, yeah.
And he resented him for it, and now he's making him the villain of the new game.
That's amazing.
Without very on the nose, it's his actual name.
That's fantastic. That's more on the nose than Caro Blaster. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so definitely read that thread. This is a Twitter thread posted by Finger Gun Hero is his name, at Finger Gun Hero. It's a really good read, and there's all kinds of references in Travis Strikes Again.
And you know what the irony is? But well, I don't know if it's irony, but like I actually did think that Shadows of the Damned, despite having the best gameplay, was among the weakest of the Suda51 games because it was just kind of like kill more zombies.
I loved it, but
the dialogue is fucking gold. But the boss fights were with like the first couple exceptions, like forgettable, and the gameplay was just run
I don't know, that harmonica guy.
Run forward, yeah, that guy was great. But like the gameplay was just Resident Evil 5, and like that, it's good gameplay, like it's well done. The game plays well, but it wasn't anything overly interesting, like every other Suda51 game.
I might also let you know that inside this thread they have a link to a manga, English translated, by Suda51, called Kiriyami Dance, which is also about the saga of terribleness. Jesus. So definitely read up on it. There's a whole manga there for you to read as well. So
you gotta really hate a guy.
Well, you know what? Fuck them. But this is great. This Twitter thread is like one of the best Twitter threads I've ever read.
Nice.
It's really, really good and very informative, and has lots of pictures and links to shit. Also, I love the icon for No More Heroes 3. Goddamn superhero in like fuchsia. It's so badass. Love it. Moving on from that, because we have to. I could talk about that all day. A new Bravely Default is coming to the Switch. Old Man Stompy will be very happy that the 4 Heroes of Light saga continues.
Hey, it's inside jokes. You're ruining the podcast.
Bravely Default, of course, it was kind of a spiritual successor to 4 Heroes of Light. That's why I say that. But this is going to be Bravely Default 2, not second.
Yeah, not to be confused with the actual second game. This is the second game.
It's like Xenoblade Chronicles X is actually the sequel to Xenoblade Chronicles, and then not.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is something else, which has its own sort of semi-sequel DLC.
Yes, exactly.
Don't worry about it, it's fine.
It's an extended expansion. It's called Todona or something like that. Anyway, I will not be buying this, not because I'm sure it's going to be very good, just like the other ones, but I just don't have the time for it. I'm going to stick to maybe 1 or 2 RPGs to buy per year. What kind of games do you like there, DragonAce?
What kind of games do I like? I do a lot of puzzles. I do some JRPGs. Right now I'm stuck in Doom.
Oh, which Doom?
2016.
Ah, good shit. You liking it?
I'm enjoying it very much. I'm towards the end and sort of like, okay, I get it. It's hard. Can we just...
Yeah, they really do just throw stuff at you at the end.
Well, is this kind of thing up your alley as far as JRPGs are concerned?
I've never heard of it, so I'm not really sure. It's funny because like I've played a bunch of JRPGs, but a lot of the ones I've played nobody else has heard of, and a lot of people that have played other stuff, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, what's a good one from that you've played?
Albert Odyssey, Legends of Eldian. which apparently was an offshoot of another series I hadn't heard of for a long time.
Yeah, a Sega Saturn game. Good stuff.
That was the reason I bought the Saturn.
Oh wow. Well, that's a Working Designs classic. We actually have some Saturn news later on in the podcast, so stay tuned. But
I mean, yeah. Like one of my favorite games is Deus Ex Human Revolution. Thanks.
Good show.
Yeah, that game's freaking like that's one of the very few game trailers that like I got instantly excited about. Usually I'm like, oh cool, but like I flipped when I saw that trailer.
It was amazing. Yeah, I love that game.
Lotus got me fully into the Deus Ex series completely. So
I still say the first game's the best, but Human Revolution is more playable, I think, and it's really, really good.
I still need to play the sequel. I haven't gotten a chance to.
Same with me. Although I did play the Fall, which is better than it had a right to be, considering what it was.
Oh, I hated the Fall.
Like, you can't jump, but the levels are designed in a way that it doesn't really matter, and you still have verticality.
I was just like, wow, way to not make a Deus Ex. And plus, I hit that bug I told you about before. Where
yeah. I liked the Fall, but what pissed me off about it is that it just doesn't have an end because you're supposed to read like a book or something. That just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, you got to remember it was an iOS game.
Yeah.
That's how it started off.
Yep.
But we should get moving. Okay. One last thing you could say.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I read the book that takes place between Human Revolution and Mankind Divided, where it shows basically how Adam gets what happens with stuff going down. Because they don't go into great detail, and then there's that short like movie they did that you really need to watch that explains more of why things are like they are in Mankind Divided.
Huh.
I need to check that out.
I guess I should look into that.
Moving on, we have a new Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance coming, which sounds good to me. Dark Alliance was, of course, the consoleized Baldur's Gate that a lot of people loved. It was a multiplayer game, so multiplayer action game, action adventure game. So I think a lot of it's really good to bring something like that. It was kind of like Champions of Norwrath back in the day as well. And this I didn't see this coming. Gears Tactics is coming to Xbox One and PC.
Yeah, throw me.
I guess they're going the Halo route. Halo has a couple RTSs as well at this point, and I don't have much to say on it because I'm a little disconnected from that stuff. But I did want to quickly go over some of the winners here. The game of the year is Sekiro.
That actually surprised me.
Which is a surprise.
Everybody was kind of waiting for it to be Death Stranding because Jeff Keighley and Kojima are like tight. But at the same time, Death Stranding was polarizing, so how could it win the game of the year, you know?
Well, Death Stranding, he's in Death Stranding too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Sekiro is an unusual choice. It's also from like way early in the year too, compared to the other ones. I think a lot of people were thinking either probably Resident Evil 2 was going to take it, or Outer Worlds, I think. But
Outer Worlds was released like 5 minutes ago. It would have been a little weird for it to just win the Game Awards.
That's true. I'm surprised Control won as many things as it did.
Yeah.
I really need to play this. Apparently, like, the reviews of it were warm, but not like hot.
Yeah.
But it seems like after some time to settle in, everybody loves it. So I really want to play it because it's made by Remedy, and Remedy makes some good shit. Alan Wake, and they made the first two Max Payne games. So I am a big Remedy fan. So
Control is on my list. I thought it looked really interesting. I've heard that some of the lore is a little spoon-fed, but it's a really good game.
I'm okay with that.
The main thing I heard about the game was just how precisely destructible its environments are. It just makes for a really just amusing experience if you're just shooting tables and stuff.
Yeah, kind of like I guess Max
Revengeance.
Max Payne had a thing going on with that as well. Back when it came out, it even had just like a room where you could just play around with the physics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the other nominees were Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2 remake, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Outer Worlds, which everything considered are all great games.
Yeah, people flip out about every single one of those games.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to play Outer Worlds really badly. I really want to play Resident Evil 2, but I haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, I still gotta play Resident Evil 2, which means that I gotta play like 700 Resident Evil games before that.
I started playing Death Stranding, but I want to beat Dragon Quest before I move on to that, so I still might be at it for a little while. But
I've actually played Resident Evil 2, so well, I mean, I can kind of bring that up later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on Thursday actually for CoreCon. But I definitely want to talk about Resident Evil 2 and what you think about it. Absolutely.
Okay.
And best action game was Devil May Cry 5, which I heard was amazing.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
not
still
really a surprise.
Every
Devil May Cry is best action game. That game's freaking nuts.
Yeah, but 5 in particular is supposed to be the best of its kind, even barring the Bayonetta games, which is saying something. Astral Chain is right in there. Speaking of Bayonetta, Gears 5, like there's all really good stuff here. Metro Exodus, Call of Duty, and Apex Legends. Apex Legends, I don't even think that should be in there, because that's a multiplayer game. It's a completely different kind of game. Best action adventure game, again, Sekiro. Let's see here. Best art direction, Control. Audio design, Call of Duty. Moving on to best community support, Destiny 2. That's actually a pretty cool award. I'm glad that they
really
give
is.
that. Yeah, and they deserve it too. They supported their transition with grace, which was really neat. And Disco Elysium got fresh indie game. A lot of people are saying that's one of the best RPGs of all time already. I really want to play that game, but luckily I think they're making console versions, so I can play it on my Switch. Greece got Game for Impact. I really want to play that too. Or Gris. I don't know.
I'm not 100%. I think it's Spanish, so maybe it is Greece, but I don't know.
Isn't that made by somebody good? It's made by a company that's famous for other things.
I'm not 100% on the company.
Yeah, I forget, but that's okay.
Yeah, Greece is a beautiful looking game, though.
Yeah. I'll look this up real quick. Devolver Digital. Okay.
Well,
is the publisher. Okay, yeah. So we know they make great stuff. Anyway. But yeah, a lot of really good winners here. I think I picked out the cream of the crop here. The cream of the crop. But we should move on. This was a very surprising news item, this next one. We're getting away from the Game Awards stuff. MLB The Show, which is a Sony PlayStation exclusive, and also considered to be basically the best baseball franchise of all time. Like, everybody loves every single entry of this. I am not a baseball sim fan, but I know this is a big deal. That's serious because everybody. There are people that specifically buy a PS4 to play this game and nothing else. They're going multi-platform in 2021 with this game, with Sony's blessing. That's a huge deal. Huge deal. I guess that Sony's also relaxing a lot of their policies on crossplay and things like that as well. So we might be getting into an era where Sony and Microsoft are more competing as publishers rather than competing brands.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And maybe that's the way that they should be going, because who knows whether, you'll still be buying, hardware the same way after this next generation. We might be just buying set-top boxes to stream, depending on how things go. But I thought this was really, really interesting. Letting one of their key franchises go multi-platform is a really big deal. It'll probably go PC as well if it goes PC, they'll make a ton of money. I think this is a pretty big deal. and the first of its kind. Who knows whether they'll make any of their other key franchises, non-exclusive, but we'll see. I mean, it'll be a completely different thing, to have like a God of War on everything else, or Horizon Zero Dawn on everything else, but or an Uncharted. So we'll see, of course. Now, more just like smaller indie kind of stuff. Jamestown Plus, which is a game I've been talking about for quite a bit, which was a PS4 exclusive. The Jamestown was out on a lot of other platforms, but Jamestown Plus was, with the extra content and everything, was exclusive to PS4. It's now on Steam and Switch. Steam users can upgrade their current copy for less than $5, which is nice. So that's really cool. I did that this weekend. And this is a funny bit of reality. PSO2 for the US is actually accepting signups for closed beta. So this is reality now.
Yeah, it took long enough, right?
Phantasy Star Online 2 has been for a lot of other countries other than the US for a very long time, and they're finally adding support for the West. So this is really cool stuff. It's not my thing, but I know that this is a big deal for a lot of people, especially big fans.
Sorry.
No.
People have been asking KSD1 to review the Japanese, Phantasy Star Online 2 for years, and because it wasn't in the US, he's like, I'm not doing an MMO grinder to become somebody's tech support. And he's like, I don't even want to try to do it.
Yeah, right.
They were doing fan patches for this that had to be constantly updated every time there was an update to the actual game.
He's just like,
they were doing all kinds of stuff for this.
No.
People were doing we're doing their whatever those not VoIP. They were doing they were getting those the services that hide your location or spoof your location.
Oh, VPNs.
VPNs, that's right. They were getting VPNs to play the Philippine version of this because it was in English. And now they finally ponied up and are actually doing this, and this is a reality. People can actually play it now, so this is pretty cool.
It'll launch, and then it'll be taken down in 2 years for launch.
I don't think so.
It's gonna be too expensive. They're not gonna have enough people that are gonna want to put in the time and money, because the MMO market is crumbling in the US.
I think there are enough people that are diehard PSO fans from back in the day that will play this. I don't know for how long. Maybe you have something 2 years, but maybe.
I mean, I've personally played on at least 3 MMOs that have died in the lifetime I've played them, and they were not necessarily, they were certainly less popular, but once they stopped getting the numbers, the servers start getting compressed, and all of a sudden it's just, we're not getting enough money to keep it up, and they shut it down.
Yeah, that's a point. That's a fair point. Which ones did you play? I'm curious.
Rusty Hearts, which was my first one. I still miss it. I forgot one of the other ones that went down. And then more recently, I played Critica. They shut it down, and then somebody relaunched it on Steam with a slightly different name, but they didn't carry over anything from the servers. I'm like, you know what?
So you lost your progress and all that stuff.
I'm like, they were like, well, if you want, we can migrate your characters to the Korean servers, and I went, no, thanks. I'm good.
I don't blame you, especially sinking all that time into it and money, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Spiral Knight still exists, but the only content updates it gets are loot boxes every different season, and Aura Kingdom has slowed down. Like, a lot of the servers have been compressed, and ESO seems like it's still going strong, but I get mixed reports on the money, so they keep doing a lot of things to be getting more money, and we don't know if it's just ZeniMax being ZeniMax or if there is an actual problem keeping it afloat.
Well, so. I do know that there were some beloved ones that have shut down. Like for instance, like Matrix Online. A lot of people had a very like close knit following, but like a really fervent one. And also another big one was it was Matrix Online, and and Star Wars Galaxies was a big one too.
I never even got to play Ghost in the Shell because they never finished the PvE campaign.
Ah, jeez. Well, that stuff's tough. It's an ephemeral type of game, unfortunately, just kind of like mobile games are, unfortunately. It's a shame that it's kind of like that. But moving on, this is a pretty big deal for the fighting game community. Seth is coming to Street Fighter V.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Seth is the boss of Street Fighter 4.
Yes. And also gender swapped, which
really?
Is pretty cool. Yeah, the default skin is female.
Huh.
Yeah. So but you can pick the classic skin is what they
like the Dr. Manhattan looking blue person.
Yeah, silver, I believe.
Oh, silver. All right.
Yeah.
Been a while.
But pretty neat. Also named after Seth Killian, which is pretty cool. And then moving on from that, this is one that I think you'll like, Lotus, if you get around to playing this. Jets and Guns was released on the Switch. This is a classic, shmup, a PC shmup classic.
Huh.
The reason why I recommend this to you, you could play the Steam version. There's a Steam version or a GOG version of this. It is very similar to maybe a horizontal scrolling raptor called The Shadows.
It has to be vertical. Sorry, no. Terrible.
It's very similar. Like, you can upgrade your ship and go to a shop and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
It is a European type shmup. And it's a lot of fun.
That?
What was that?
What is a shmup?
Shoot 'em up.
Oh, like a 2D spaceship game.
Okay.
You know,
where you fire a million bullets and take out the enemies. So as your screen scrolls, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good one. It's an indie one from back in the day. It's been around forever. But it's cool that they added it to Switch. I think it has something like ridiculous, like 43 levels, something like that. Yeah, a lot of people really love it.
Sustain itself on nothing else but just stuff it's managing to get. Like, Nintendo's making some good choices with it.
Yeah, the Switch has become the de facto like indie and classic gaming platform. So that therefore it's my favorite. Like bar none. There is all kinds of stuff coming to Switch that I've been waiting for 20 years.
Wow.
Like, bar none. Like, literally. I mean, you have Trials of Mana. Literally waiting for 20 years for this.
And again, Arcade Punch-Out, like 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff on that system. An arcade-perfect version of Donkey Kong 1 through 3. I've been waiting for those forever, especially Donkey Kong 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, has arcade Donkey Kong 3 ever been ported into the Switch?
I mean, the NES version is very close, but it has a different aspect ratio, so it plays differently.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's a pretty good facsimile of it. But nothing like the arcade version. I mean, it just feels different, and I play the arcade version, for high score. So it feels a lot better than the NES version. Just does. It's the NES version's a little more sluggish, I feel, but it's very close. But anyway, there's all kinds of really great things. That Moon RPG game is coming. I've been wanting. That's one of my top PlayStation 1 games that I wish was fan translated, and that's coming officially to the Switch. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
So you're not getting your wish is what you're saying, because it still hasn't been fan translated.
No, Nintendo? Shut it all down. Shut it all down. I want a fan to do this.
You don't know if the translators aren't fans.
No, that they hate the game, and they were translating it under duress.
Translating under duress.
Yeah.
No.
Translate harder, boy.
Get out of here, kid. You bother me. But La Mulana 1 and 2 are coming to consoles in the West in March as well. Speaking of indie games, the original La Mulana was like one of the like indie games that started indie gaming. It was like a doujin game that got fans translated.
I think I have that. It was very hard.
It's very difficult. Very difficult. It along with Cave Story was basically founded indie gaming as it were.
Cave Story is killer.
Yeah, so La Mulana is very difficult. The original version of it patterned itself off of like MSX games and like old Konami games. It was like Road to Gallius and stuff like that. And it's very difficult. There is an obtuse puzzle on every single screen to figure out. And I want to get a chance to play these kinds of games. It may be that both of these are games you have to play with a pen and paper because they're that hard to figure out. But I've been looking forward to it coming to the Switch, so I'm very much probably going to buy that one. I haven't beaten it. I have the PC version, but it also came to Wii back in the day. Moving on, this was actually the Saturn news that I teased a little while ago. This one Lotus actually informed me of. Sakura Wars, a Japanese RPG fan favorite, just got fan translated. And
yeah, there's like, I don't know how many Sakura Wars games there are, but America only got one of them, the fourth one for PS2 and Wii, and like we've never gotten any other of them. It's just like a weird place to suddenly come in. So like, finally, one of the older ones has actually been translated.
Yeah, I think it came over as Sakura Taisen. Does that sound right?
The name sounds familiar.
Well, Taisen just means wars.
Okay, then we're good.
But yeah, I think the fourth one. No, the fourth one is Dreamcast. Sorry.
The fifth one. We have Farewell, My Love.
Yeah, exactly. So no, it was called Sakura Wars in the United States. But yeah, I believe a fifth one is coming out soon. Project Sakura Wars. Yes, that's
so.
Correct.
A sixth one.
A sixth one is coming out worldwide in Q2 of 2020. So it's really great that the original game got fan translated like right before that.
Yeah, I've heard that the series in general has a pretty diehard fan base.
Yeah, it was made in conjunction, I think, with Red Entertainment and Sega. Yeah, that's exactly right. So Red Entertainment has made such a wide variety of games. They made Bonk. Oh they made Gungrave. They made all kinds of stuff. But I think they made the Tempo games. Yeah.
Not my Tempo.
What?
Not my Tempo.
Blood Will Tell. They made that. Jeez.
Jeez. Wow. That's pretty eclectic set of games.
Thousand Arms. Okay. I was gonna say this game, like Sakura Wars, does sound like Thousand Arms, and there you go. Wow. So yeah, they also made the Tengai Makio series, which I would really want to play as well. I hope somebody fan translates that one of these days. But yeah, apparently Sakura Taisen is popular because it's kind of like a dating sim / like strategy series. So apparently it's very beloved and one of like the Sega like must-haves for Japanese players back in the day. So there was always kind of that like that knowing feeling that we missed out on a true classic here.
Well, yeah, like again, we got the fifth freaking game, and it's like,
yeah.
So what is this then?
Yeah, so this is really great. This is like the second Saturn game to be fan translated this year, which is really good. Going off the tail of what was it?
Police Nuts?
No, Police Nuts was done a couple years ago at this point.
Okay.
It was, what was it? Linkle Liver Tail.
Oh, okay, I did hear about that. Yeah.
So that was kind of like a spiritual successor to Crusader of Senti.
I can't believe that Hyrule Warriors ripped off of Linkle Liver Tail.
But yeah, this is really cool, especially like if you have a way of playing, Saturn imports and fan translations. So good stuff. Definitely add that to the list.
I've only ever seen some of the animes that were made for Sakura Wars.
Yeah, you're actually hinting on the fact that Sakura Taisen or Sakura Wars was actually a huge media franchise. It wasn't just the games. It was conceived as such too. So
it was one of those first anime VHS I bought back at Suncoast going, this looks interesting. What is this?
Nice.
Yeah, that back in the day, oh man, getting Bubblegum Crisis and some Tenchi Muyo and...
Yeah, spending like fucking $30 per VHS because it's Suncoast.
Yeah, and then trying to track down like the uncensored versions and dubs and subs and all that.
Yeah, I was going to say make sure that you have the sub or the dub because tapes, they only have one.
The subbed ones were more expensive because they knew that people would pay more for them.
Oh, I didn't even know about that because the only series I ever bought on VHS was Slayers, and I always looked at the dub because that's how I was introduced to it. So like the disparity never came up.
Yeah, that happened with me because I was buying Dragon Ball Z tapes at the time because that's when like the Frieza saga was going on, and that's when he just turned Super Saiyan. So I bought tapes to watch the conclusion of that. It was intense. Like every time, like waiting on bated breath until the next release came out is awesome.
The only Yu Yu Hakusho VHS
there you go.
Owned.
Yeah,
No, I had the horrible movie that wasn't even dubbed by the right people.
Oh, the second movie?
Yeah.
I like the movie alright, but like that dubbing, man, and they call him Kuwahara. I was like, is this real life? It's like the big green dub of Dragon Ball Z where they just call characters whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, it was like, oh wow, this is the only Yu Hakusho I own. Okay.
Like that movie's pretty good, but like that dubbing though.
I had the Sonic the Movie anime tape.
Yeah, I saw that back in the day.
Let's see here. That was like the Sonic OVA where,
Yeah. No, the only anime tapes I ever had were Slayers. I've gotten some DVDs, but tapes, that was it.
Yeah. I had some Ava.
Sailor Moon, but I sold a lot of it years ago.
Yeah.
Good move.
Yeah.
I used before they redid Sailor Moon, everybody's like, oh, the Sailor Moon dub sucks. I'm like, hey, the sucky Sailor Moon dub is the only reason you have anime right now, so please.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it was one of the animes they showed on in the morning, that appealed to Americans. I watched it every morning, along with Dragon Ball Z.
I watched it when it was on Toonami,
syndicated,
like the original Toonami when it was on in the afternoon.
I watched it before it was on Toonami.
I remember when it was on the early morning. I never caught it. I always caught like whatever was on right after it, like Pokemon maybe. I forgot, but like I would catch the ending credits of Sailor Moon every single time.
It was like Power Rangers was on like in my local area. I
don't think I got up early to watch Power Rangers. I forgot what it was. I don't remember what it was, but like I would like the ending theme, which in America is also the opening theme of Sailor Moon, was just in my head forever. It's catchy.
You know what? I think it was Beetleborgs or VR Troopers.
There was zero chance I was watching Beetleborgs. VR Troopers is maybe.
I was watching it. We were hard up for entertainment before there was cable. It was either that or watch PBS.
There was a Sailor Moon sticker machine at my Toys R Us that my friend and I used to just dump quarters in.
There you go.
I remember that they had an original Dragon Ball one as well before it was Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
That was the first time we'd ever seen any kind of anime thing outside of like the 1 KB Toys that was up where my mom lived in Wisconsin that would occasionally get like a few things they didn't know what to do with.
Yeah. I mean, that was like the second wave of anime. I mean, of course they had like Gatchaman or before that, and
they call it Battle
Voltron.
of the Planets.
Yeah, Battle of the Planets and Voltron.
What does that G stand for? Shut up, that's what.
Oh yeah, I grew up watching original Voltron. That was my thing.
It was good. It was good.
Nah, for me it was Slayers. Like it was a lot of it was what my friend showed me. Slayers.
Trigun was big too.
Fuck yeah, Trigun. A little bit of Ranma 1/2. Evangelion. I even saw Razafon. Razafon is like not Evangelion.
Yeah. No,
it's music instead of religious imagery. Both shows were fun. And there's something, let me tell you, the angel equivalents in Razafon have blue blood. There's something very surreal about being able to do visceral kills on giant kaiju monsters and the whole city just gets dunked in like blue liquid. It's bizarre looking.
It's gross.
Yeah.
But anyway, we should return back to our show here. Not that I'm not loving this. I could talk about 90s anime all day long. But EA is re-releasing the Command and Conquer games, and they lost the master recordings, but have no fear, they are getting the original cast to do the voiceovers again. So I'm very happy, especially like the voiceover. The woman who does the voiceover for the Command and Conquer games is very iconic.
Yeah.
And she's returning. They didn't want anybody else but her. So
is this their apology for the mobile game?
I'm sure. This is a series that like everybody rags on them for abandoning. So this will be good for EA. I think EA is trying to win people back. With the good Star Wars game that. They just released. I mean, they've been doing okay lately.
Wasn't that's not so much EA as EA making the wise decision of remaining as hands off as possible. Just let me make my own fucking game.
There was something I remember reading or watching or something that the person who was the head of that game had a little more pull to keep EA from changing things than the people who had the other Star Wars games canceled.
Yeah, like that's what it comes down to. It's like whoever's powerful enough to tell them to just back off. Like, let me make my damn game. If people like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. Like, we don't need your grubby microtransactions all over it.
Yeah.
Well, the most recent game that they put out is apparently phenomenal. I need to play that as well.
What,
I haven't got a chance.
The Star Wars game?
Jedi...
Fallen Order?
Fallen Order is apparently
one,
phenomenal. Yeah. I really want to play it. But apparently it's kind of like Force Unleashed, but, good instead of janky as shit. But let's see here. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is delayed until summer. Apparently they're working on it to make it feel better, and I'm okay with that.
But will they still support 4 Game Boy Advances is what I want to know.
Hooked up to a GameCube, yep.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, Mortal Kombat 11 is going to get crossplay between PS4 and PS1.
That's pretty cool.
Again, Sony... releasing their grip. The first game they ended up doing that with was Rocket League, and basically because fans forced their hands on that. And Overwatch, I think, was the other thing. Overwatch was like
they
the big
fought
thing.
against Fortnite. They really
Fortnite
didn't want to let
Yeah,
people
Sony
crossplay
specifically
Fortnite.
said we have ours is the best, so you would only want to play it on Sony anyway. To which the rest of the world replied, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing is, Sony was so bad with it. If you had an account on PC and logged into it in your PlayStation account, you couldn't go back to PC with that account. You were locked out.
Oh, wow.
That's a dick move.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Sony, I don't think you have the power to do that.
That's insane. Well, that's good. Moving on, I hope Lotus took a look at this. The contents of the...
Don't actually say what it is, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. The contents of the Inside Collector's Edition has been revealed.
Yeah, months and months later. If you've played Inside, if you've seen the end of the game, that's the contents of the Collector's Edition.
And I was guessing that's what it was going to be.
Inside the game.
Yeah, Inside in all capital letters. Yeah, Inside.
I was like, contents of what Collector's
Edition? No, like Limbo and Inside. There's Inside. Inside had a Collector's Edition.
It was like This is what's inside the collector's edition.
Oh, okay. No. Inside had a collector's edition released from I Am 8-Bit for like a ridiculous $375. And they said that. Well, the thing was they were like, "What's inside the collector's edition?" It's a mystery, and I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm not spending $400 on I don't know what.
Well, they gave you a hint.
Yeah, they were working with like a real doll company. So like
real doll company.
So people kind of guessed what it would be, and it turns out their guess was correct, but it's not worth fucking an extra $350. Inside is like a $15, $20 game. And by the way, speaking of which, even now, I Am 8-Bit is releasing a different collector's edition of Inside that's not that over the top. For like, I think like $30. It's Inside plus like a little poster plus maybe something else. To which everyone replied, but there's an Inside Limbo dual pack that's $20 with a poster. Like, it doesn't have the mystery thing, but like, stop fucking not telling us what you're selling us.
Well, I am 8-Bit has been doing some ridiculous things lately.
I'm not too pisses me off. Like when I've bought physicals from them, they've been great. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, tell me what the fuck you're selling. I mean, an extra $10 is not gonna like make me cry, but that $375, even if everybody kind of guessed what it was, just tell us the hell's wrong with you.
So the recent controversy from them before that was they've also been re-releasing like cartridges of old games.
Oh yeah, Mega Man X and Street Fighter 2 for like $100.
Yeah, the big they just announced Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 for the Super Nintendo. And it's ridiculously priced. And Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 for the Super Nintendo are both super cheap. You can buy them for like nothing.
And Street Fighter 2, like, are you kidding me? The only game that's a little more is Mega Man X, and that's still not that expensive.
Mega Man X is still not expensive. It's one of the highest produced games for the system.
Yeah, like, considering how iconic that game is, it's like $40 if you want to do card only. Even all in box, it's not going to be like $100.
Yeah, look, listen to this. Earthworm Jim 1 and 2 Anniversary Edition for $135.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, dude.
On a pink cartridge. Pink.
Well, that changes things. I didn't know it was a pink cartridge.
It's warm colored.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting. Well, that's what they did with the Mega Man thing, though. They had like blue cartridges and then some like sort of shiny or darker blue or whatever as a limited one, and you didn't know if you were going to get that one. It's like, fuck off, dude.
$100 for Lion King as well was before $100 for Aladdin on Genesis.
No, they $100 for those.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Each, yes.
What does Aladdin cost if you get an actual Genesis card? Like $5?
Not even that, because it is the third highest produced game, therefore the third most common game on the system.
And the Lion King was still way up there.
Yeah. Aladdin is literally the third most produced game for the entire system.
What also made people mad about this is that, like, repro carts... I mean, this isn't piracy because it's official, but repro carts, people don't really respect people who produce repro carts because, like, unless there's like no way you're getting those games, like if they're foreign translations or something.
They're just doing this for the people that need to have like a copy of everything.
Yeah, it's for the packaging. But the thing with repro carts is like, why should I pay somebody $40 for their piracy? And now I Am 8-Bit's doing official versions for like $100. Like, get the fuck out, for games that you could easily get anyway.
Earthworm Jim is already sold out. I mean, this is how crazy it is.
Well, that's what blows my mind, and it also pisses me off is that people directly support this.
Yeah, people are buying into it. I don't understand it.
Like, it reminds me of when limited run games released, like, you know, Shadows of the Empire and stuff like that. I mean, they didn't sell it for a fucking $100, but like, people were kind of paying more for the packaging than the actual game, but that just irritated me.
Well, I might consider buying an Earthworm Jim like limited edition, like if it was like $30, but not like $135. You know,
that's
like
absurd.
Fuck off.
Yeah,
fuck off.
Again, I bought Grim Fandango from I Am 8-Bit. I bought Dear Esther. I was considering Sayonara Wild Hearts, but like, the game's like an hour long.
Their vinyls are admittedly really cool.
Their vinyls are great, and the physicals that I bought from them are great, but like, this practice is absurd.
Speaking of, they just released a vinyl. I just got it at my house.
Yeah.
I did want to mention this because this is something positive about them. They released the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time soundtrack on
that's
vinyl.
Insane. Oh, you know what? Is it arcade, SNES, or both?
It is SNES.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it is probably, other than Castlevania stuff, it is my favorite 16-bit soundtrack.
And you know what? The arcade version, in some cases the tracks are better, in some cases the SNES tracks are better. But if you have the SNES version, that means you have those extra levels too, like "Bury My Shell at Wounded Knee."
Oh, and that's one of the best songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's really cool. It looks like the pizza box from the game.
That's great.
And when you take it out, it's a green vinyl. I'm very happy with it. If you turn it over, it's the bomb.
When you pick it up and start spinning.
Yeah.
Like Turtle Power.
Yeah. I'm
nice.
very, very happy with it. Like I said, it is my favorite outside of it's SNES. It's my favorite 16-bit soundtrack outside of anything Castlevania related, but it's also Konami, so it fits right in. And that's saying a lot considering Yuzo Koshiro. The Streets of Rage 2 is my favorite.
But that's not 16-bit.
I revised that, but it's right there. It's right there.
Well, Chrono Trigger soundtrack, though.
No. Chrono Trigger is actually not as... I really love that soundtrack, but and Final Fantasy VI, obviously, but...
Yeah, FF6 with this, 16-minute final boss theme. Jesus Christ.
That's below Konami and Yuzo Koshiro for me. So, but... still really fucking good. Well, moving on from that, we gotta wrap things up. I just want to mention a few little things here. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is adding some iconic characters. Ultimate Alliance 3, that is, on the Switch. Iceman, Gambit, Phoenix, and Cable, all really cool characters to have in a game. Sega Ages Puyo 2 is coming to Switch. You know I love my Sega Ages stuff, so it's really good stuff. You don't
need to repeat yourself to say Puyo, it's fine.
Puyo squared.
Yeah.
Puyo. Ys Memories of Celceta is actually coming to PS4, which was a Vita exclusive for a long time, and then got ported to PC. Now
not only was it Vita exclusive, it was not at first PSTV compatible, and before people realized this, some of them bought the game and were furious that they couldn't actually play it, but it eventually got patched in. Yeah.
Good stuff. It's one of the best Ys games, if you ask me. So it's a really good one, and they're ensuring that it will have 60 frames per second locked, which will be very nice on PS4. City Connection is also giving updates that Deathsmiles 1 and 2 will be ported to current systems, which is great. That's another shmup favorite of mine. Shoot 'em up for DragonAce there. But
you told me it's fine.
But they are promising a lot more cave ports to current systems, which I am freaking excited about. Also, Sisters Royale is an alpha system game. They're the company that currently makes the Raiden games. Speaking of shmups,
is the American version of Sisters Royale called Sisters Big Mac?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yes.
Because they use the metric system over there.
Yeah. They drown it in mayo too.
Or excuse me, Quarter Pounder. I fucked it up. I fucked up the joke.
Yeah. No, it's like Big Mac.
Yeah, but the whole thing with metric versus quarter pound is pound. Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Son of a bitch.
You're trying to tell me one of my favorite movies, like what the meaning of that first iconic dialogue is.
You are aware of the invention. There's an invention called the television, correct?
Oh boy.
Yes.
Shovel Knight is now a complete game, which it was pretty damn complete when it first released, but they added the King of Cards and the Battle Royale mode, as well as the Amiibo triple pack, which I have here.
Is the American version of the Battle Royale called?
Oh, shut up.
There's Battle Royale Shovel Knight? How do you even...
Yeah, it's kind of like a Smash Brothers thing. You can pick from all the different bosses to play as them, and also Shield Knight, which is really cool. But yeah, the triple pack has Spectre Knight, Plague Knight, and King Knight in it, and they're beautiful amiibo. They're really, really nice. So I'm very excited to have these. The Plague Knight in particular is really, really a cool looking amiibo. He's my favorite out of all of the bosses.
I like Spectre Knight's my favorite design. Plague Knight, I just like what he is, like who he is.
Yeah, he has the plague mask and all that.
Yeah.
I really like Spectre Knight too, so both of them are in there. So I'm freaking stoked to have this. Frogger is out on Switch, like the Arcade Archives version. I am super stoked about that. Frogger's a great game, and now I can be George Costanza in real life.
Ooh, game over.
And lastly, I don't know if you saw this, but John Romero tweeted after also confirming that it is Commander Keen's 29th birthday last week. Also, both Commander Keen sets of episodes came out within a day of each other.
Yeah, that's pretty rad.
From one year to the other. So Commander Keen episodes 4 through 6 also had their 28th birthday. He confirmed that Sigil is now an official Doom expansion.
All right.
They are including it in the console versions of Doom.
Actually, by the way, speaking of Sigil, you know what that kind of reminds me of is, like, I was just thinking back to when, just yesterday, I was thinking back to when they released, I forgot if it was 1 or 2 years ago, but that alternate Doom, episode 1, map 8.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when there was that much harder map? And they had said at the time, this is kind of a practice for something in the future. I was like, what could that possibly be? And it turned out, guess it was Sigil the whole time.
Yeah. This is cool, though. I didn't really ever expect them to actually, sell this as part of Doom. And,
this
lo and behold. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They're adding it to the console versions. You can actually buy a collection of all of the Doom games on console. It was just released.
So that's Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, Sigil now, Final Doom, and 3 in 2016?
And including the expansion for 3.
The expansion for 3, and also, because the expansion for 3, that also means No Rest for the Living for 2, right?
I can't confirm that.
All right. And if it's the Switch, then eventually Doom Eternal and Doom 64.
Yeah, Doom 64 is coming as a pre-order bonus for the new one.
That is fucking crazy. Doom 64 is the true Doom 3, which is kind of funny.
But
Doom 3 is Doom 1.
So you can actually go into a GameStop right now and buy a physical disc of all of the current Doom games all on one. Except for VFR, I think.
VFR.
All on a Blu-ray, which is amazing.
Well, no, I saw that, but from what I've heard, I might be wrong. I'll have to look this up, but I heard that a lot of them were download codes, so they're not all on Blu-ray.
Oh well, it comes in a box. What I meant.
There's a box that is supposed to have all the Doom games, which is pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm really stoked. I never thought I would see a day where they would, have everything all in one spot.
Doom, yeah.
Yeah, but you can buy it very easily. I mean, I won't buy it because I have them all.
Yeah.
I have a million of them. But it's really cool that especially you DragonAce, if you want to go back and play some classic Doom, you can.
It's the best.
Yeah, I don't remember which Dooms I ever played because I never owned them. I played them, so it was like you want to play Doom, and every Doom was called just Doom.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what you got to get used to, though, is unless they update the controls, left and right, turn left and right, you're going to have to get used to that.
Yeah, I always fix it to be more, WASD.
I actually still play the classic way.
Yeah, you play it you play it without mouse look, and that's
that's how it was. That's how it was released. Like I grew up with the shareware. Like what mouse look? Like so I just got used to that.
Well, I don't do like the like look up and aim kind of stuff. I do the auto aim and all that.
I don't press page up. I don't really care about that. Just like if the enemy's on the same horizontal plane as you are, or excuse me, on the same like vertical plane. Like if the enemy's directly above or below you, and you fire, then you'll hit them. It's fine.
Yeah, my point is when I set it up in GZ Doom, moving the mouse only moves you left and right. It doesn't do anything else. It only turns you left and right.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't look up and down with the mouse like a modern shooter. I at least keep it that classic.
Unless there's something I really feel I'm missing, like a switch above me or something, I don't look up or down at all. Even though I can, I just kind of don't.
That reminds me, I've been playing the original Dark Forces recently. It's good stuff.
Hi, Dark Forces.
All right, I veto that.
That's enough of that.
You're making me go berserk here, Lotus.
I'm not following you.
Anyway, is there anything else anybody wants to mention before we wrap up? We went a little long here, but that's because we had a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah.
Nothing, I'm good.
Okay,
I guess the only thing to mention is that, of course, Resident Evil 3 was officially confirmed with an announcement trailer and everything, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we actually have DragonAce on here to talk a little bit about that for Thursday's podcast, so we'll get to that, of course. So that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. While there, you can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. Finally, you can find me, you can friend me as vysethebold on PSN, Steam, Xbox Live, Twitter, Discord, whatever.
Yeah, just say everything. It's fine.
Yeah,
and if somebody actually picks a platform that you're not on, then
I am not. The only thing I'm not vysethebold on is Facebook, because that's my actual name.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up at Lotus Prince on Twitter, reversing the words. And otherwise, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, and I've been editing that Let's Play recently. It's coming up. Or getting involved in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince. And where might we find you, DragonAce?
If you want to talk to me about random stuff, you can find me on Twitter at dragons_dusk. If you want to just know when I'm streaming or gaming stuff, I am at Dragons Dusk Gaming. And when I finally get back to it, I occasionally stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/dragonsdusk, all one word.
Oh, excellent. What kind of things do you like to stream?
Oh, random stuff. For a while I was just doing Stardew to get back into it and figure out, because every time I turn around OBS is different. But I will probably actually be streaming some RE2 once I can play it, since I have it on PlayStation, but now I have it on PC, so I'll be streaming some RE2 at some point. And just every once in a while it's like, oh, I'm playing this, I'm bored, let's see if friends are around. So that's why I announced the... if you just want to know when I'm streaming, just follow the Dragons Dusk game, because that only has either retweeted gaming news or when I'm streaming.
Excellent. Well, that's certainly a worthy cause there. It sounds like a lot of fun. So we will catch everybody on Thursday for a discussion on Resident Evil 3 Remake, amongst other State of the Union kind of stuff for Resident Evil. So we'll see you then.
Until next time, everybody.
Bye-bye.